Hi guys, Dave in Texas here. What we're looking at, is a neck project. A friend of mine that wants to have this neck actually fit his guitar's body. Only problem is it's 7/64 too deep. This neck's way too deep this way, right? So the fretboard sticks way above the playing area where it should be. Got it? And you can't shim that because all it would do is cock the neck and change the notes up and really play badly. Even with a bowed neck the other way, it would still be screwed up. So there's not really much more you could do than take take it away, take the parts off the heel itself. Now, I've been talking to some people at StewMac, asking their advice on this. And it comes down to it, they say, well, with the circumstance as you have it, rough grade, remove the wood about halfway down, then sand the rest of it, by hand or with a sander. And that's a good idea, taking a drill and drilling multiple holes in this down. I only want to come down 5/64, so 2.5/64 down into the wood all over the place like chicken pox, and remove what's left of that, then sand that down smooth with a sander and with varying grades of sandpaper, saying right. Well, now the big trick to this is getting your vice grip, right, your table vice level. And it's been many years since I've actually used this particular vice, or this table vice, to do something that's really ornate or intricate, which is not really intricate, but it's more involved because you have to have a flat plane on that guitar's heel to work properly. So I've got to get a nice flat level here, which is tilted about 10 degrees to the left to right. Change that up with these mounting screws down here. Put some shims in there, some washers. Get this first of all level. Then I can actually level against it and level the top of the heel off, so I'll know exactly that I'm cutting the right direction, sanding just enough. And what I'll end up doing is dropping these rubber grommets, rubber guards down 2/64, 3/64 below the top of the guitar's heel, so I have an area to work within, and that the sides of the guitar's body, the side of the neck will be protected, not compressed by the vice's metal teeth. Be rubber on them at all times. And as you see it right now, it's just kind of in there haphazardly, but that's how you start. Start getting it, start measuring it, start leveling things up, changing things up to make it right, and then do the application. Kind of crazy, but that's the way it works. And right now, I've got it in a caul that's holding it up halfway. Now, I will change that up for a solid piece of wood blocks underneath that piece of blue plastic there that holds necks up. So it'll balance properly, won't be wobbly at all. But right now, that's the way I have it, just to get an idea of where we need to be. And that's about where we need to be. Right about here. And of course, the things behind it will be moving. The glass cleaners and the alcohol and all the other hand tools and markers, those will be leaving us. Now, I started off to use a few different items. I started to use a little tiny hand plane. And I thought, well, I've got to actually concave or convex this edge to doing work on a flat piece of wood. I want to do the edges with this as it sits. I thought, no, let's try something else. And I thought, well, maybe I'll try some chisels, okay? Come on, camera. Try some different size chisels I've got 4 different sizes. And see if I can't just, scrape a lot of that off there without just, damaging anything. I thought, well, the only problem with a chisel is they tend to gouge. And what I'm going for is something that is not a gouge, but I want to just kind of gently remove material. Get this guitar going, but I want to make sure it's done right. And I did ask for a lot of different opinions on this, and I've been, like I said, talking back and forth between my shop and StewMac all last 2 weeks, getting advice from them, and different ideas they had about actually doing this. And they had a floating router planer that they have that you put on a drill press, but you know, we're looking at a lot of money invested just to get that done. And they said, you know, this will work. It's just going to take longer, and yeah, be a little more careful. But again, using that router planer bit they've got, that very well can just take off a ton of wood before you even knew it. And it's orbital, right? It's rounded. So I still have some edges to do and clean those up as I went. And that's sanding again. We'll be doing this little setup on these instruments here, my little neck support and my table vise, get that back into a level plane. So hang in there, guys. Okie dokie, guys, I've got this set up in my vise now. I've leveled my vise to the table, put some shims underneath it to adjust it, to make it you know, a level device to work with. I've got the guitar in rubber stocks surrounding the wood parts of it so they don't get marred by the teeth on the vise, and that has to be adjusted carefully because they don't just work perfectly. It's just not two perfect flat pieces of rubber that I could find. Anyway, we got it level finally, and it's in there very well. And it needs to come up just a tiny bit on the end of it to get this thing perfectly level again. Okay, just a tiny bit, like 2 or 3%, and then we're set. Not bad, guys. And we're, like I said, we're going to do before, we're going to start off just using a sander and see how we do with that, a hand sander, electric hand sander, and go from there. That's our best bet, because I don't want to drill into this even with small pieces. Okay, somebody wants to talk to me, so hang in there, guys. Here it comes. Well, there's the first hour's worth of work on this. And look how much more I got to go. That's a lot of wood to take off here, little by little. That's still flat or not. Show it to you since it's in the bubble. So, still leveling it down little by little, whittling it down. What I'm using right now, I got a little rasp file, I got the 60 grit sandpaper, and I will be using this little jewel, but it only does edges right now because the problem is the part's much bigger than the file blade, and it only take off edges right now. As you said, just barely dug in there, just a little tiny chip. And I don't want to take it down edge by edge and try to bring it back. You know, that's not a good idea ever. But if I can get time, I'm going to round off these edges here, there, and straighten this thing out, and get nice and sharp on my stone again. And oh, it cut some already. Look at that. Anyway, get it real sharp, put a fine little line on it, and take a few shavings off this. See if I can get down a little bit faster than just nothing but sanding. And my electric sander, I haven't shot with that yet. It's also 60 grit sandpaper. So that's just an hour's worth of work, and it's hardly any dust at all. But we'll go from there. There's something going away. Man, this is slow work and very, very boring. What I got to do is get a some music playing here in the background. That's what I'm missing, music. So hang in there, guys. I'll show you as it progresses. I'll be making some more videos of this. Next, try and get this down some. If you'll look at this, using this to try, you know, smooth things over when we take some rough sandpaper and a rasp file to it. If I can get that in front of there, yeah. So I take it off roughly with this and get it down. You see, we're getting close to the first test line, and obviously we're always keeping it, you know, level with my level and a 90-degree rule. But this is my first line that I take it down to. Then I test in the pocket itself and see how much more I need to go. There was so much to be removed on this. I didn't want to mark it and then just take too much off. You know, I wanted to take off then put, you know, shims in it. So I left it about halfway. So we're almost there. Almost finished with the first half of this lowering this heel on this neck for this traveling guitar. Right, really nice little thing here. Let me show it to you. Pretty cool, I think. Get a good look at this. Yeah, look at there. Now the guy's building this on a cabinet shop, and he's put on some excellent wood on this. Look at this, what he's done. This is absolutely beautiful woodwork he's done on these guitars. And I think he's been making more than one, so you might keep an eye out. But nice solid heavy wood, beautifully done, beautifully stained. And we're going to get done with this pretty soon here. Now the next step is to take another measurement for the final to get this next score line down here, to take it off down 2. Okay, so I'm working in 2 steps. I get the first one down, make sure it's level and the plane is correct, and it's correct in the pocket, and then score it again, another line down it to remove that next level. And I always mark it 2/64 above the actual contact, so this lip on the guitar isn't actually the nick on the the lip of the fretboard doesn't actually touch the guitar. It's just floating above it where it belongs. Does that make sense? The lip. And that's not that hard to do, but it just takes time to do these, guys. It's hardwood, it's maple, and this stuff is, you know, hard to sand and get down. Now, of course, I tried using, you know, if I tried using chisels, I may crack it and splinter it. Same with drilling it, you know, with drill bits to try to, you know, put a bunch of holes like spaghetti and take those off. That's just not good on this type of hardwood. And I talked to everybody, including Stu Mac. The best thing they came up with is use a plane, which I've been doing, a little handy-dandy tiny one, and use a rasp file, and use a sander, not a belt sander, but a flat sander, because the belt sander takes just too much off too quick, and that's why it takes so long. You got to do these things carefully and gently when working with a guitar neck. You know, of course, it's not an expensive neck, but you know, you want to do it right for the guys. All right, guys, this is my second score line on this. You can see the top one almost finished. I went back and measured that, of course, got a second reading, because I want to take this off just little by little to make sure. And after a few, well, let's say an hour or so of sanding, I go back and dry fit this into the body of the guitar to make sure there's no issues there. But again, what I'm using, of course, I'm using this block sandpaper I use. This is really heavy grit 60, right? I use a wraps, you know, to get it down really, you know, deep into this wood, so it helped me to get some of it away, right? And I finish it up with this to fine polish it up and get it ready to mount, because it doesn't take much off with that hand sander. It's not like a belt sander, so most of it's coming off with this hand sandpaper, and that just takes time, guys. Lots and lots of time. So it's best to always buy one that fits already, or have a pocket that fits already. But I've already been told by everybody in the business, don't take it out of the pocket, because that very thin area may crack on you if you try to remove it. Anyway, hang in there, guys. We'll get this down to the right level and mount it, and show you what the little travel guitar looks like. Well, guys, the neck is finished on this guitar and it's been attached again, as you can see. Let me show you that real quick. Hold on there, guys, while I adjust the camera back. And see, there it is. It's been attached and in the right position finally. What I want to do now is pad this and pop these caps off here, these knobs, so I can remove the 2 potentiometers in here that I'll work on the outside instead of on the inside of the guitar. Much easier than just put them back in again. All right. And this thing is an absolute little jewel to get tough nuts or tough knobs off, and that it won't screw up the finish. and it pulls them straight up, and off they come. Good tool. One of these days I'll stop telling you about that thing because it gets old hearing the same old stuff. Oh yeah, and we're going to be using, of course, a good wire again for this, so that he'll be pleased with the outcome. That is copper that's been tinned all the way down. So we have to go back and tin it ourselves with our solder, which makes it nice. It's much quicker to do. We put these in our little control area, a little parts pot, and then we'll get busy on getting these out and get these off. So hang in there, guys. And we're going to use a nice little gadget I've got here. And what it is a nice parts through, a little wrench. Makes it real easy to get in there and get these loose. So it takes one little turn and they're loose. But nice because it's, you know, the part can fit all the way through this. And look at this, I think it's really slick. It adjusts to angles that you can work with. Another part, another tool in Dave's tool bench. Always fun to play with new stuff, right, guys? We've had that for years and years. Okay, so I'm gonna get these off of here, spin them off, and just push them down inside like that, and get them on the opposite side. As well as we need to get that end jack out of there as well. Put these in our little parts bucket. Aha! And now we got the two pots exposed. These aren't Gibsons. I'm not really sure what brand these are. This is Alpha on them. I got all parts Alphas, right? You know that kind. Anyway, we'll score up the back of them, clean up the back, and make them easier to attach to. And as usual, it only takes a few turns to get that nut loose. We might throw on a lock washer here. There's not a lot of space in this body for this long part to go in. It's almost at the end of it. Kind of the way it's made. We'll get this thing out of here in a minute. To hang up on those threads. Let's see it. New designed end jack piece, which I think is pretty clever because you don't have the issue of twisting it inside the body if it gets loose. Got a washer here. That off. There we go. See that? Not neat. Awful long, but very heavy duty. Okie dokie. So we'll take off these parts here. Make sure they don't get lost. Put the guitar aside. Then we'll set up a template with some cardboard and attach these and put these parts through it. But the first thing we got to do is we're going to clean these with some alcohol. And then we're going to score them. Whoopsie. And then we're going to score them with a file. Okay, with a file. So that they're easier to attach the solder to and the wires remain. Now, the sorry guys, the Gibson, they come in a shrink wrap package, and that poly heats up when they shrink it, and that gets nasty, and that stuff transfers to the back of those pots. So you gotta really clean those things off rather than just leave them as is. I'm not sure how these went or how these are packaged, but best to always clean off the backs. Get any finger markings, any finger goo, off of them. And then we're just going to lightly score these. By scoring, same thing as things going to scratch the backs up. Okay, I'm going to score up the back so it'll be easy spots for the solder to attach to, which does no damage to the pots. And I do these to all the pots, even the Gibson ones. You can still read Gibson on them when you're finished. You can still read Alpha on this when you're finished too. And I'll clean them up one more time to make sure there's no goulettes or no anything metal left. That makes sense. Now, just one more time to clean this. Clean that one. Now we're going to get a piece of cardboard and put that on there and set them up to attach, as well as the end piece of the end jack, so we can wire it up with the wires. Hang in there. I've almost ran out of lids on my old boxes. I've used them so many times. I need some more boxes in here. I just pull the lids off old boxes and poke holes in these. And what I'll do, simply poke a hole with that type of tool, right? So that the shaft of the potentiometer comes through there and stays there, so I can work on the back of it. Just like that. And this little balancing piece here, piece of metal flange, you see it? We're going to push that in as well to hold that in place once we position it. Alright, so now it's into the cardboard in position. It's going nowhere. We'll do the same with this, point it at the other one, just like it would be inside the body. Now, the spacing on this is not critical. We do want to have some extra space in here, use a little bit more wire than normal, than just having so tightly it is, you know, if you move them a bit, they'll pull loose. And I do that on all my wiring, so give a little gap to it. You know, it doesn't look as neat, but then again, once you twist that knob, if it gets loose, you know, pull that solder loose, that wire loose, and mess up, you know, your wiring. On this one, I'm gonna leave it sitting here on the side. Now on the end jack, it's so much different than the rest of the jacks I work with. I'm not gonna push that through. I'm just gonna sit it on the side there and wire it that way. I know to add some extra length to it so it go into the body, but we're going to wire it after it goes through the body, obviously. And that's our little guest corgi deciding to speak. Petey, you little loud mouth, shut up. Petey, shut up. He's a crazy little dog. He's a corgi. He's about 3 inches tall. He's got 2-inch long legs, and he scratches his own belly when he runs. And let's see what we got to do to wire up a 1 pickup, 1 tone, 1 volume setup. Done. And there's the wiring diagram. And this is how we're going to wire it up. Straightforward, simple, guys. Not much to this one. Alright, we're going to cut wire to wire, ground, body to body. Give it plenty of room. Now a lot of people will roll these up once they've cut the tips off of them. I leave them just like that and splay them out. That way they got better contact all throughout the wire itself with the top of the pot. See that? Just leave it flat. Better than roll up in a little ball and hope that it sticks. So now we got the first wire done. And let's see, next wire is to the, wow, not much to this at all. We're going to do a wire to wire, pole to pole. Get the red out. Now let's get the yellow. Post to post, then a post to the other. Wow, this is a little different than usual. So we're going to do a post to post, right? Like so. Let's use a little bit more than that, David. That's a little too tight. It never hurts to give it some extra room. You don't want these in there and come loose or pull loose because somebody decided to twist the knob tighter. The knob got loose. Now these are wind up because they're going to go inside the posts. Goes from outside to outside. This one to this one. I put a little J hook in it. Make sure it stays in there. Don't go anywhere. Now that one's set. This one is the ground, goes on top. And then we got from the middle of this back over to the jack. Wow. Alright, well of course we want to attach the one to the jack, because it's got to go back inside the guitar, outside in. So we got to make sure we got enough room here. We always trim it later, you know. Alright, that's more than enough to attach this. Now what we're going to do, we're going to just attach this temporarily, and we will not solder this up until we know for positive fact this is the way it's supposed to be wired up. There you go. That's from this middle to the hot tip, and then we have a ground that comes off this body as well. Another ground wire, another green one, that goes over to the other side of that jack. Again, giving it plenty of room so we can do some adjusting later on with it. Because it's got to go back outside the body and back in again. It's all different. You have that plenty of wire to work with. Now, of course, we're going to twist this on this. That's the end we're going to attach the jack to the jack. Alright. Now, if we turn it on, once we plugged it in and it turns out wrong, all we got to do is just untwist these and put them on the right posts. So we need to ground this one to the potentiometer for the drawing. Now this one we'll just leave as it is, all splayed out like this, so that it's got better contact where you ground it. We'll get these all together and trim it up some. What else we got? We got the hot that goes and shares this right here. Makes sense. And the ground goes to this one on this potentiometer. Okay? And the ground from the guitar goes to this one as well. Making sense. Alright. And this one goes to the middle. Let's put it back in there. And some of these we can solder up and some we can't. We gotta leave room on this one right here for the hot lead from the pickup, which means we gotta put them back inside the guitar once we get these wired up and soldered up. Okie dokie. So hang in there while I set the soldering iron up and walk you through that. Remember guys, you want to see everything. Well, as usual, everything's in the way. I'm trying to show what's done. This is what you got to see. So basically there it is, all the parts are soldered together and it's all done, except I'm not permanently attached the lead to the pickup. It's still free there, and these are still free on the end jack because you got to go through the body, because it won't go through any other way but one way through. I want to test it first. Put these inside the body, right? Put these inside the body. And what I'll do is wire it up and solder it up for the pickup and for the ground from the bridge over here on this one, and then we're set. Test this, make sure it's been done right, make sure you're on the right post, and if not, just switch the post, leads around, and there you're done. Okay, so that's all the extra wire that we need. The rest of this can go back. And the only thing left to do is just wire what we have to wire. So, hang in there guys. We're going to get this thing done. Looky here. We got a Wilkinson wraparound bridge. Kind of like the Les Paul Juniors used to have. But according to this, you can actually intonate the G and B string. We'll get into it and show you what it looks like to set her up and get her going. So hang in there guys. Do some rearranging on the table, get some things off of it. like I said, it's a wraparound bridge. And what we'll do, we'll set it up on the E string. Maybe go in with the G string afterwards to hold it in place so it won't move around. Kick up the fuss. There it is. And it looks like it's already been fit on the nut. According to my calculations, to have 10s on that. We'll see. So he wasn't sure what had gone on there before. Now what you do with this, obviously it goes on this and it wraps. Well, I checked, and yes, that is a size 10 nut that's on there. It's like a lot of fenders, it's got that string in there real well. Anything smaller is going to get buried in it. Anything bigger, it show. Okay, no, that's about the best we can do right now is 10s. Don't go heavier than that. That would be kind of crazy for a travel guitar. So we're going to make sure it's in the pocket. Give it a nice good stretch. Take it up between 1.5 over. Okay. You're going to loop it like that. You're going to loop it around like this. Pull that tight. Your little handy dandy little vise out here. And start ringing it up. And since it went up 1.5 times, it should, I'll go around this thing about twice, close to twice, on the thread, on the strings. Well, that's going to need to be adjusted, obviously. I want to come up on that bridge quite a lot once you get this thing strung up. But that's just the way that goes. Okay, let's go for the next one. The bridge is going to hold pretty well, so let's just go ahead and do that. Except I got to get my hands in front of the camera to do it. So hang in there, guys. The camera's in the way. This is the little traveler guitar. I don't have a name for it yet, I don't think, but we're reaching the end of the build-up on this, and what we're going to use are these little string trees. These are made by Fender. They're kind of a roller type. They're the new type from Fender, not those old nasty types. What I've done, I've gone ahead and strung this up. It's not really under real tension yet, but it'll give me an idea of where to place these trees in the best spot. So I'm going to open this up, get these out. If you see them again in my hand, they're tiny. Don't lose any of this. But here's what we're looking at putting on this nice little traveler guitar. Keep those nasty little strings back down where they belong. So we're going to loosen these up. These 4 right here. Gosh, I could use another set. We're going to loosen these up. Push them down so I can set these trees up on them and get the best location for them. Now, normally they're across from this right here, this tuning key right here. They're right straight across from it. But there's no set rule as to where they have to be. But what we want to do is get them in a good spot that they're not too distracting, you know, and not in the way of things. I hope that makes sense. So this one we go on the next one. See that? Right there. So they're kind of, you know, spaced a little bit further away from each other is the way I like them. and looks like we got a good spot. Now, we gotta get the old handy dandy electric drill out. And since I'm using the cordless one on my strings with the old chuck I found after looking everywhere for it, we're going to have to dig out the old electric one and the old bits. And what I'll do is I'll wax that bit up on the tip. I'll use some tiny bits to do this job. Drill master. And this thing can drill a hole in just about anything, I'm telling you. It's a little bit heavy duty for what I'm doing right now, but it's more reliable since it's electric. I'm using a battery powered one. Like I said, I'm going to put a tiny little hole right there and right there, right across from these two spots you see, with a tiny drill to start the holes. And it's just a starter drill is what I'm trying to do here. Not drill big enough to screw that in. Just start it. That's the best way to do this. Start your hole first, then go a little bit larger, and once again if you have to. But always start out with a smallest hole you can in the wood to get that thing used to being drilled, so that wood doesn't crack on you. But like again, I keep telling everybody, these darn things are made of the hardest wood you can imagine, and because of that they have a real bad tendency to split. I found my stash of bits. Well, you know, no one did borrow them. And I'm pretty sure out of these I'll find one small enough, yes I did, to start the holes with. Ta-da! It's nice when you have a full set in there and some extras. Okay, so we're gonna put those where they're more accessible in the future. What we got here? Aha! Almost a full set. All right. Mainly larger ones, but I've got a nice, tiny, very sharp-looking newish bit that I want to start this hole with. And we're going to measure those parts. And I think I need to change batteries on this. I think I need to put in a new battery. And my caliper is starting to flash on me. Not flash me, but flash on me. As in, I'm worn out. Alright, what size screw is this? It's a 3/32 screw. So I got to go much smaller than 3/32 for the pilot and the next hole. You have any questions about your drill holes? We'll drill some crap wood. Scrap wood. Like this. Alright, test it to see what we've got. But here we go. First things first, we're going to drill a pilot hole with this magnetized smaller bit. Get off there, let go of each other. Cut that out. I'm trying to mate. Alright, okay, here he goes. Drill that first. See what we come up with. Make sure it's nice and straight in the chuck. And can you see this? No, you can't, of course not. Let's go up a bit. There we go. Alright, you see that. Now, we don't want to drill through and get into my new mat. There we go. Now, that would be the first hole on the guitar, but it's really too small for those screws and end up cracking, or possibly cracking, when you put the pressure on the screws themselves. Now, for the next hole, put that up a bit. You can still see that. Yep. Wow, that kind of fast on me. A little wobbly too. It's a little bit off in the chuck. I have to adjust that. My eyesight's not what it used to be. Come on, get in there. No, that's still off. Well, that's good. Okay. Well, that's off. Wow, I got a bad shank on this thing. All right, there we go. Now we got a nice now we got a nice screw. And what we'll do now, boys and girls, we'll set the screw. We'll set the drill down, grab one of the screws, and see about that secondary hole. That's too big. Now that's going to be absolutely perfect. Dang, David, you did it again. Your incredibly bad eyesight found the right bit. Now if I can just find the right driver to fit those little screws, I think this may be the one, but I am sure wrong. Where is that thing? It's a little red hen. There she is. Yep, that's the right size. That's also very important when you're doing this type of work. Use the right type of driver. You don't want it tearing up those threads so you can get it back out again. And there's plenty of clearance between the strings. All right, let's back it out. Between the strings and my bit. And like I said, you don't drill all the way through, obviously. You don't want that to take place, so you got to be real careful with this. You're going to only drill down, you know, 2/3 the length of that screw. The rest of it you want the screw body into the wood with. So now, let's put that in a safe spot, out of the way of the melee. Let's get out the pilot drill bit. Remember guys, you said show me everything. Well, that's what I'm doing. Holy cow. I hate those guys that are bored with this. And remember, if you really hate this and you don't want to see everything, put a note on the comments saying don't show us everything, and I won't. Make it fit nicely and snug. Alright, this is the secondary hole drill. Sorry. Right there's about enough. Now I know for a positive fact it's not going to cause the wood to crack. It's just the right size to use on this guitar. So now I'm putting these in. I'm trying to put them in without removing the strings. Make sure I get a good fit. And I'm going to put it all the way down to mark this, because what Fender has done, they've added a nub on the back like some of the screwless tuning keys. What that does, it puts a little indentation into the wood, so I know exactly where to put my next screw hole in. Now for the pencil again. Right, square it up right. Well, I can see the distance, and what this is, guys, it's a nub. It's on the bottom of these trees. And what it does, it holds the trees in place and doesn't let them swivel like the old ones did. So what I gotta do is find another drill bit that will fit that nub size. Darn it. And put that hole in there as well. Alright, look at there. You see that or not? See, it won't move even though the screw may be loose because there's a nub hole on the back of it. So I got to mark that perfectly. Oh man. With these, and I gotta get these out of the way to do this because this is a little bit more delicate doing it using these ticker type trees, but I like these because, you know, you're constantly fiddling with the your own trees are always in, you know, going out of position, driving you friggin' crazy. And when you want them, you know, straight where they belong. But the question is that too big or is that big enough? That's big enough, but is it too big? That particular hole. Let me measure this nub if I can. God, it's tiny. And see if I can't find something smaller, because I'm really concerned about drilling into this wood to accommodate that darn little nub, because that could really lead to some problems if those two holes join. It's like, oh no. Now the good news is that these holes are in a proper position for a string tree. So I have to go back to the old style. I will. I'll go out to the store. I have to go to the store anyway and buy some strings. So it won't make any difference. Just buy a set of old style fender and string trees. Let's get a nub reading. Alright, there's 0. Fractions of an inch. That's 1/16. So I need a 1/16 drill bit. So what I'm going to do, guys, is use a 1/16 to drill into this, but it's going to be squared up. And I may need to start a what's known as a bump that so it doesn't crawl into that nub depression I've created. Oh man, because the nub's in the wrong spot just looking at it. It's cocked. So now let's get rid of all these tools real fast. Well, let's take care and put these away right. Just toss the scrap wood, but put away my calipers nicely because they're not cheap. And I'm going to need the help of this right here because they're right almost on top of each other. Well, that next drill hole should go. Doggone it. Right there. That is a lot more work, guys. I drill 2 holes and make sure they don't bust into each other. But on a 16th drill bit, we got those in and straight and nice and level. And the guitar's almost in tune. We had a little camera malfunction and went dead for a second, but we used a string spacer on the strings, get them out of my way. We used a little handy dandy pencil, mechanical pencil, and we used a little jeweler's driver like this, so it'd be a little bit closer to the part, and got it in there. And they look nice and they work real well. Basically, just keep the strings, you know, down at the proper level coming into the posts themselves. And that's all I have to do. You know, it's not brain science. What we're going to do next, guys, is tune this puppy up and plug it in. And, you know, let's hear what it sounds like. Put the knobs back on it, give it a nice polish. Tell the guy it's time to come get his new toy, which he's looking forward to, is what he said. So, hang in there, guys. Next thing will be tuning it up and playing it. Well, guys, here it is, a little traveling guitar. Like I told you, I'm going to play it next. And, of course, the strings are going way out of tune very quickly, but I wanted to hear it play. Yep, they're already going out. But it's got a nice, loud pickup. Let's go for tone. Oh. Let's go for tone. Good tone balance. Okay, here we go. All the way up. Wow, really squeaky. Okay, well, it's already out of tune. Next thing I do, I'm going to put these knobs down nice and tight since everything's working on it. And it doesn't have a back plate yet. They're going to still make one. I don't have a name for this yet, or I don't think they may have a name for it. I'll have to give it to you later. But I think these are going to be for sale and at a good price. And they're pretty neat little guitars, I think. You know, put a couple of strap buttons on here, and you're set to go. Now, make it a little nicer, but this is where it's supposed to be, according to Strat type specs, and that's enough to clear a pick guard. So we're going to finish up these little tweaks and twerks and get to tune in a little bit later as these strings stretch and sway, and let the owners know, hey, you got your little git fiddle ready. Yeah, do some rock and roll. Let's try something else with this one. That was a nice clean tone. Let's get it nasty. Nice little rocket traveler, guys. Stay tuned. Basically, we'll get a name on this, how you can get in contact with the guys if you want to get one for yourself. Okie dokie. So,
yeah.
Okay. Introduce yourself, dude.
Hey guys, Taylor here at Dave's in Texas, in Dave's Cave.
Yeah.
And he just set up my little build, so we'll see how it sounds.
Yeah. That's got a nice twang to it, dude. Hear it?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Isn't that nice? I love that little guitar, dude. There's that cat. Get out of here! Get the fuck out of here! Scram! He'll climb up inside your engine, dude.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, scared the shit out of one guy. Oh God, film that. Yeah, play that funky stuff. I got it on twang. Listen to clarity of the pickup.
I know, I love it. There's a lot of bite.
You ready to get crazy? You notice how it doesn't get muddy on that?
Yeah,
it's still clean, but it's still, distorted. That's what I love about that pickup.
I love it.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Try again. I got your high gain now. Try that one. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
What's that?
Of course, some of the new strings are going to go in and out.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway, on that guitar, okay, you need to come up with a price on it, because I got two people want to buy one, okay? Because I told them that was a production model, and you'd be making them.
Yeah,
So don't make me out a liar, dude.
Yeah,
okay?
no. No, that's
so
the
we need
plan.
to find out what the price is on. Are you going to come to the party?
Yeah, I'm thinking.
Okay,
yeah.
bring a price back.
Okay.
Okay, and bring it back so they can play it some more.
Yeah.
Of course, they played it for hours anyway. don't do anything to the body at all. They like the heaviness of a traveler. They always hate those lightweight, you know. They flip around. They're no good. That's the best. Yes. They said the heft on that is perfect. And I go, that's why they want to buy it.
There you go.
Anyway, if you get that pot fixed, you know, I'm sorry. If you get a new pot, I'll put it in for free. I taped the back of the control panel to keep anything from getting in there or touching it, you know.
Cool.
Because you can't screw things up back there still.
Right.
Okay, because I don't put tons of solder on anything.
Right.
Because it just looks bad and it usually doesn't help anyway, unless it's like a real cold day and I just have to. But everything in there is set up at its maximum. You got 500K pots. You got an orange drop cap that's a 434, and that's why it gives that nice.
Yeah, grit.
Yes.
I like it.
Yeah. Turn the blues. Turn that bass bass tone up a lot. Now play it. Yeah, there you go. See, hear it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah, that's awesome. I love it.
Cool, dude. Cool.
Super excited. And great work.
Thanks. All right. Anyway, come up with a price.
Yeah.
Dave in Texas, any questions, give me a holler. Bye.
For sure.